Anne-Marie Anderson is an author, speaker, and award-winning broadcaster who for years spent time reporting on the thrilling highs and heartbreaking lows of sports teams. With a passion for storytelling, she has brought the triumphs and tribulation of athletes to life for millions. Yet now, Anne-Marie is turning the spotlight inward as she opens up about her own private scorecard.
Welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here.
You know, we have been talking about courage, but you wrote a book on this, basically telling people to go for it. But you have done this in your own life.
Yes, exactly. And it isn't just like telling people to go for it, it's how do you go for it? Because I feel like so many of us have these big dreams and big ideas, but how do we get from here to there?
Right.
And so I wanted to break it down. And the first thing you have to do when you break it down is figure out what's been in your way. What's the barrier that's been stopping you?
A lot of your book has this backwards thinking because audacity sometimes is one of these words that we think can be bad.
Yep.
But I love the way you frame it up.
Yeah, I don't know why we think it's bad. Like my sister-in-law is from Argentina, and she says, "What do you mean? Audacity is a great thing." The definition of it is the willingness to take bold risks. Audacity, or living audaciously, requires three components in my mind. The first thing is just that mindset, right? The audacious mindset that you're going to do this, you're going to take some risks. And audacity as a mindset, it really is about optimism. And it's not that things are going to work out the way you want them to, but that you'll survive however they work out.
Wow. How did you get to that point? Because I love what you're saying, and I would consider myself a very optimistic person, but it takes work. It takes daily work.
Exactly, because the second component is action. Because you can sit on the couch being optimistic all day long, and absolutely nothing's going to happen until you take an action or behavior.
It's interesting though, because as we were looking at your book and going through the different chapters, I think so many people feel your stories, and it might not be their exact path, but they feel what you're saying. What do you hope that the reader really takes away?
They often think that I was born audacious. I am shy, I'm an introvert. That is not the way it is. I managed to look at the four barriers: fear, time, money, and your inner critic, see the role they were playing in my lives, and instead of push them away, brought them closer to me and used my fear, made friends with it, and used it to drive me forward.
Ooh, made friends with your fear.
Make friends with fear and recalibrate your relationship with rejection. Those are two huge keys.
How do you recalibrate?
Okay.
Because that's tough.
I think a lot of us, when we hear no, it's a period at the end of the sentence. And I trained myself literally to hear no as a comma, followed by not yet or next. Maybe not yet for this opportunity, but I'll get later, or maybe next. And the only way I was able to do that, and it sounds crazy, is I sought out opportunities in which I would get rejected. I applied for bigger jobs in which I would get rejected to kind of not have that muscle, because I wanted to get desensitized to it.
That is powerful. There is a lot of power in that sentence. So now transitioning to being a mom and juggling it all, because we have a lot of moms that watch our show.
Right.
And, you know, we're all living these different lives, but how did you do the juggle of career and balancing three kids?
Well, nobody does it well, right? Nobody does it well. I remember when I was having kids and I would ask people in the business, how do I do it? And they say, you just do. And now when people ask me, it's you just do. But there is something in the book, when time is a barrier, called the urgency fallacy. That we think these things that are urgent are somehow important, and they're not. And so it's about deciding what's important and what's urgent. And the way that you do this is things that are urgent are reactionary. Somebody texts you, they email you, they ask you to sign a permission slip, you know, whatever it is. They say they want dinner. Okay, you'll feed them.
Oh.
Maybe not at this moment, though, because you have to carve out time for what's important. And you'll know things are important because maybe there's no impending deadline, but it will move you closer to your values, visions, goals, and where you want to be. If you don't carve out time for important, urgent never ends. And that's what we do, right? Is we say, when I get through all this, then I'm going to write the book, then I'm going to plan this. And even if it's self-care for you as a mother, because it's a brutal job with terrible pay, right? Being a mom, no off days.
No off days.
If your important is some self-care for you, then you need to find an hour, and it doesn't need to be a continuous hour. I don't have a continuous hour.
Right.
To do that work. So for me, it was 4 15-minute blocks a day. I wrote half of this book on the bathroom floor with the door locked, right? With kids outside being like, Mom, I'm hungry. I'd be like, same.
Yeah.
And then in 15 minutes, I would go out and cook for them, because otherwise, urgent was going to overtake.
I feel like you are someone we need to have back on and remind us of this, because you really are speaking so many truths of, so often we see that everybody just has it together and we think, okay, they arrived like this.
Right.
And you're really breaking it down that it took like step by step. And I love what you just said about the 15 minutes writing it on the bathroom floor. That is super authentic, sister.
It's what happens.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Whitney.